The national development in the Nehruvian era focused on the building of dams, factories, mines, etc. But as the tribal areas were rich in minerals and forests, they paid a heavy price for the development activities which benefited the rest of the nation. So, during the Nehruvian period, that is soon after the independence and when the planning in India started, the focus was laid down on building dams, factories, mines. The tribal areas were rich in minerals and forest. They had to pay a heavy price for the development activities which benefited the rest of the world, and on the other hand, the tribals had to face lots of difficulties. They were displaced from their areas. The displacement of the tribes has been a result of setting up of dams and factories using the forested areas for various mining and other development work, and the tribes were displaced from their original habitats, and because over there the dams and the factories were to be built. The idea of private property in land also adversely affected the tribes. Tribes who mostly had collective community-based ownership were at a disadvantage in the new system. For example, series of dams being built over the Narmada River. Many tribal regions have experienced heavy in-migration of non-tribals into tribal areas due to pressures of development, reducing them to minorities. And the introduction of private property was also a problem for the tribals. Most of the tribals who were practicing collective community agricultural activities faced a lot of problem. In the new system, for example, series of dams built over the Narmada River. Many tribal regions were experienced heavy in-migration of non-tribals. All the non-tribals started shifting towards the tribal areas due to pressure of development, reducing them to minorities, and the tribals became the minorities in their own areas. This threatens to disturb their culture and communities, for example, Jharkhand and Tripura. The tribal Adivasis struggle started in India after independence because the area where tribal population are concentrated, their economic and social conditions are usually much worse than those of the non-tribals. The main tribal Adivasi struggle started after the independence because the areas where the tribal population was living have now become more prosperous, but the tribes have become worse. Tribal economic and social conditions have become the worst. The Janas or tribes were believed to be people of the forest whose distinct habitat in the hill and forest areas shaped their economic, social and political attributes. Generally, the tribes are believed to be living in the forest or the hill areas, and their economic, social and political attributes are also regarded as that of the people staying in the forests and in the hill areas. Today, barring the northeastern states, there are no areas of the country that are inhabited exclusively by tribal people. Only the 7 northeastern states are now inhabited by the tribal people, and the rest of the areas in the country where the tribes used to stay are no more tribal areas, because over there non-tribal communities have started residing. Since the 19th century, non-tribals have moved into the tribal district of central India, while tribal people from the same districts have moved into plantation mines, factories and other places of employment. So non-tribal population have started settling down in the tribal areas, and the tribal people have moved towards the areas where the factories and the mines and the plantation projects are going on to get employment. The impoverished and exploited circumstances under which Adivasis live can be traced historically to the pattern of accelerated resource extraction started by the colonial British government. In actual, the exploitation and the discriminatory practices towards the tribes was started by the British government, because the British government was exploring new sites for extracting minerals and for the development and plantation projects, and the same pattern was continued by the government of India in independent India. From the late 19th century onwards, the colonial government reserved most forest tracts for its own use, serving the rights that Adivasis had long exercised to use the forest for gathering and for shifting cultivation. Now, after independence, the government of India have started reserving the forest for its own use, and previously that forest was used by the tribals for their hunting, gathering and for their shifting cultivation. They were not allowed to use them as they were using it previously. Forests now were to be protected for maximizing timber production. With this policy, the mainstay of their livelihoods was taken away from Adivasis, rendering their lives poorer and more insecure. Denied access to forest and land for cultivation, Adivasis were forced to either use the forest illegally and be harassed and prosecuted as encroachers and thieves, or migrate in search of wage labor. Because of this practice, the Adivasis were forced to either use the forest illegally, and they were prosecuted and they were harassed as encroachers and thieves, or they were forced to migrate for wage labor. The term Adivasi connotes political awareness and assertion of political rights, literally meaning original inhabitants. The term was coined in the 1930s as part of the struggle against the intrusion by the colonial government and outside settlers and moneylenders. This term Adivasi was coined by the British government or the moneylenders or the outside settlers in the tribal areas. Being Adivasis is about a shared experience of loss of forest, the alienation of land, repeated a displacement since independence in the name of development. So, Adivasis were meant to be the people who have lost their land, who have been displaced from their forests, and this was done for the sake of development. The government monopoly over forests continued. The policy of capital-intensive industrialization adopted by the Indian government required mineral resources and power generation capacities which were concentrated in Adivasi areas. So, the capital-intensive industrialization, the policy was adopted by the government of India after independence, and to implement this policy, mineral resources and power generation capacities were the main input, and the raw material for this was concentrated in the Adivasi areas. Adivasi land were rapidly acquired for new mining projects. In this process, millions of Adivasis were displaced without any appropriate rehabilitation or compensation. For example, the Sardar Sarovar Dam on the river Narmada in Gujarat and the Palavaram Dam on river Godavari in Karnataka. These processes continue to prevail and have become even more powerful since economic liberalization policies were officially adopted by the government since 1990. And in the era of liberalization, this process has become more staunch, more powerful since 1990s. It is now easier for the corporate sector to acquire land areas by displacing Adivasis. They have continued to wage wars against the Dikus or outsiders, and in the post-independence period, the attainment of statehood for Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh are evidence for the success of these movements. And the Adivasis were forced to engage in movements for their rights, and the positive aspect of these movements was the statehood for Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh, which was recently declared by the Parliament of India.